Act 4, Scene 6. The Mucky Mammoth. Hey, just a quick one here. I'm going ashore to do some mushroom hunting. This little island is my favourite spot, and I figured we're already running late. What's one more unscheduled stop? Just need to find Will and get him up here to keep an eye on things. You know, I bet he's asleep. Could you run down and wake him up for me? Bunks are down on the lower level, right next to the mountry. Thanks. What are you recording there? The mammoth? That's really creepy. Very creepy indeed, thank you. How do I go down? Aha. Huh? Okay. Oh, there it is. Alright. What am I recording? A recorded lecture plays from a tape machine next to Will's bunk. It even hinted that he had a mind in design for this device, as recorded in the diary and sundry observations. Why should personalities in another existence or sphere waste their time working a little triangular piece of wood over a board with certain lettering on it? The whole business seems so childish to me. Ouija boards, yeah. If we're to make any real progress in psychic investigation, we must do it with scientific apparatus. Again, for Edison, a technical solution to every problem. He goes on to suggest the parameters of the apparatus, and... Yes, a question in the back. James? Student indistinguishable. Yes, this idea of personalities lingering after death does appear to be in conflict with Edison's theories about what he called life units, the subatomic entities that animate matter and then scatter to other configurations when a person passes on. But given Edison's emphasis on memory and cognition, remember, we're talking about the inventor of the phonograph, and his colourful description of the swarm of interchangeable drone-like, Edison even uses the word proletarian, life units, animating the humankind. His theory naturally posits that any individual life unit possesses on its own some fragment of memory. So according to Edison, when life units recombine from, say, a soldier into, say, a flower, we may be able, using some apparatus, to coax out from the flower memories of war. tape stops. Will wakes up. Well, hello, small man. You caught me in my pre-dawn nap. I try to sleep in little nibbles when I can. It maximises my time in threshold states. What? Oh, you know, the half asleep, half awake, in between places. I play those old tape lectures during my little nibble naps to absorb the information more easily. It's pretty effective. I wish I could do everything half asleep. Can't say I learned very much just now, though. I may have been too busy dreaming. A vivid, narcotic fantasia aboard that. But those are always the quickest to dissipate. I better tell you about it now before the spell is broken. Will takes a deep breath, focusing on the task of recalling his dream. I was small, not a child, an animal maybe. I patrolled the corridors of a great iron ship, searching for scraps and mice, I think, and crying, always a weak and mournful mew. Other crewmen slumped in odd corners or lay drunk on the deck. The hall smelled of shame, defeat, and rot-gut corn whiskey. They dumped artillery into the water, tore their flags into cloth straps, and made handkerchiefs to bury their sobbing faces. They drifted on Lake Leth, drinking the cold black water and eating oilless fish raw. When they at last ran out of cooking fuel, they seemed, in their despair, to forget even language. After an interval of years, the ship crossed a threshold into absolute silence. Silence, except for my hopeless, whimpering cry. Anyway, that's all I remember. Lately I never remember my dreams. It's probably for the best. The images of dreams are often wasted on the waking. That's a good mushroom hunting island, I guess. It's plenty damp and they've got cypress trees there to grow on. Of course they're not indigenous. The cypress trees, I mean. Everyone down here seems to agree that they were planted as some kind of a marker or memorial. Most people will tell you they've got a distant relation or acquaintance who helped dig a hole or water a seedling. But nobody remembers what it was all for. And nobody left a plaque or anything. It's a shame. Looks like it must have been a lot of work. Well, at least we have the trees. And the mushrooms. I don't feel like doing either of those things, but I guess I have to pick one. Shannon and her friend sat out in the dinghy to deliver a package at the telephone exchange. Act 4, Scene 7. Echo River Central Exchange. Thanks again for your help. This is about as far as the tugboat can go. You know, noise and disturbs the bats. I usually send well, but I thought you'd like the chance to meet Dashiell. He's a guy who worked at the TV station, WEVP. So you'll pass through the Bat Sanctuary. Which is really nice, by the way. Be sure to check out all the plaques and stuff for cool bat facts. Plenty of time. Anyway, the Echo River Central Exchange, or excuse me, Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. They changed the name when the power company took over. Anyway, it's just on the other side of the Bat Sanctuary. This package is going to Poppy. She's an operator. The operator. I'll meet you on the other side at Sam and Ida's for a scheduled early breakfast stop. Just follow the river. Can't miss it. Oh, and I almost forgot. You may or may not be interested. There's this kind of weird memorial sculpture on the way in, just before the Bat Sanctuary. I always recommend people at least stop and take a look at it. It's really sort of... I don't know how to say it. You should check it out. Okay, bye. Uh-huh. Have I got motor power? How do I move this thing? Is that it? I suppose that's probably it. By the way, I have absolutely no control over the boat. I don't know how to make it move. All I can do is light on, light off. These boats are too slow for my liking, to be honest. I generally like the game, but not when it feels like it's just trying to waste my time. Like when Conway's leg was injured. Has it gone fucky again? Should I be getting something right now? Oh, thank you. Sign. We claim these helmets in the names of the folk who wore them, and we place them here in their memory, but also as a spit in the greedy green eye of that power company who bought up our old mine and traded our brothers and sisters' safety for a little more yield, but only yielded 28 good men and women dead when the walls collapsed and the tunnels filled with water. That's a terrible story, but I'd care more if you'd put punctuation in it. Their lungs were black, but now they're washed clean and full of water too. They swept through hidden tunnels into some awful cave we will never find. So we guess the water buried them for us to let this be here. To let this here be the marker for their grave. To be the marker for their grave. Oh, please stop writing, I can't read this shit. And if any son of a bitch from that power company wants to take back these helmets as company property, just you try it and see what will happen. That was better, that was a reasonable sentence. Hey, Elkhorn, that's the mine we met in. where your folks worked. Looks like it's been here a while. I sure as hell wouldn't mess with it. You think whoever wrote it is still that angry? I don't think you ever forget about anger like that. No, I guess you probably don't. This probably stirs up, I mean, how do you... Brings back some anger for me too. Yeah, that's understandable. I guess that's what a memorial should do, huh? Help you hang on to your feelings. Otherwise, they fade away. It's just what time does. Oh, Homer's on the boat. Hello, spooky skeleton. That's a problem. What? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Are you feeling okay? Oh, sure. Doesn't hurt anymore on my leg. It's just kind of numb. Like it's not there. My shoulder too, actually. That's an old one though, from an accident. I'm lucky I just had some nerve damage there. It probably should have been a lot worse. You know, those guys from the distillery are just making the best of a bad situation, just like the rest of us. Hey, one of them said to me earlier they could even help me take care of these medical bills for my leg, you know? Get it all together on a plan, consolidated. That sounds like a really bad idea. Conway, you're going to Spooky Skeleton Town. No stops. Don't do that. Oh, I don't know. They seem to have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff. They've got a whole process figured out. Yet to turn you into a spooky skeleton. Anyway, I have a feeling it'll all work out. Even this delivery? Yeah, we're almost there, right? Hell, at this point I bet we could just take off the parking brake and that truck would roll into 5 Dogwood Drive by itself. Listen, that old truck I've been driving belonged to my boss Ira, Lisette's husband. To be honest, Ira doesn't like me very much. But somehow, Liz got it into her mind that he would have wanted me to take that truck someday. Maybe to make up for all the yelling he did. Or maybe so his ghost could hold it over me. Just one more thing I feel like I owed him for. Anyway, they got their own trucks at the distillery, and now that the antique shop is closing up, I've got no use for that old truck. I was thinking you should take it. Sure, I could keep an eye on it for you until you get straightened out. The way I see it, if Conway has any possessions at all, they're going to get spooky skeletoned into nothing. So, if Shannon holds on to it, she can give it back. Sure, okay, sounds good. What's this one? Visitors to the Echo River. Oh, fuck. I feel so dizzy. Oh my god. Why did I just go really dizzy? That's horrible. I don't know what that was about. Ooh. Visitors to the Echo River lopsided brown bat artificial hibernaculum and sanctuary are asked to take extra precautions in order to prevent the introduction of foreign fungal contaminants and the spread of white nose syndrome. Please do not visit the sanctuary during the same day in which you visited any cave known or suspected to host bats infected with white nose syndrome. Please do not leave your vehicle. If you must leave your vehicle, please remove shoes, clothes, jewellery, headwear and eyeglasses to ensure you do not bring any foreign spores ashore with you. Please do not touch any bats or structures. The lopsided brown bat is confused by light. If you're using a lantern or other artificial light source, be aware it may attract and confuse the bat. If you're approached by bats, do not panic, relax. Stop your vehicle and switch off your light. Never touch your bat. Okay, my light's staying on, because I want to see what happens. Spooky skeletons. No, don't like it. Give the bats a blast of light. Everything could go wrong. No? Okay, you've gone slow again. Bat fact. Ever talk with your mouth full? Bats do it all the time. In that case, I hate bats. I find that absolutely disgusting. I can't stand that. Bats talk in extremely high frequency clicks, too high for humans to hear. Then they use their powerful ears to scan for echoes of these ultrasonic clicks. By comparing very subtle differences in the time these echoes take to come back, differences in just millionths of a second, bats are able to picture their environment with enough accuracy to catch a flying insect. Once a bat has caught an insect in its mouth, it's still flying and it still needs to avoid running into anything, so bats keep clicking away, even while they munch on a tasty bug snack. It may be poor table manners, but it's crucial for surviving in the dark. Alright, I'll forgive them, but I won't forgive people that do it. It's disgusting. I wonder how the other bats know whether one of them is really talking or just chasing a bug. Sometimes it's hard to know with people too. Oh yeah, like, how about this weather? I guess there are layers to it, right? Sometimes you just need to get the other person talking so you can check their body language. Or hear what their voice sounds like. Find out if they're friendly, or angry, or drunk. I don't do that. The lopsided brown bat's natural diet mostly consists of moths and other small insects that breed along the river. Here at the artificial hibernaculum and sanctuary, We use a combination of chemical snares and ultrasonic wards to repel all potentially contaminant-bearing insects, and replace them with our own locally bred and spawned hyperallergenic antiseptic pseudomoths, which we call the little grey nothing moth. You may be thinking that the other moths and insects the lopsided brown bat would have been eating are very much relieved that their natural predator has found another food source. Not so. We've installed netting and highly effective moth traps along the river where the lopsided brown bat normally hunts to balance their escape from the food chain. But eating moths isn't the only systematic contribution these bats make. They also produce a potent fertilizer in the form of guano that helps plant life thrive along the Echo River shore of Lake Leh. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not finding this one interesting. In order to minimise the sanctuary's impact on subterranean agriculture, we collect that precious guano here at the hibernaculum and manually distribute throughout the caves. It's a full-time job. Sounds like a lot of work. It's all fake except for the bats. Yeah, I guess so. Reminds me of that guy Donald and his crew down there with the computer. Oh yeah. Kinda bothers me, like they're tricking the bats. Yeah. In this case, I think it's about survival. I mean, if that's the bottom line, what's the difference? Like the folks in the mine, you said they used to buy stuff. Fans, canaries, all those little trinkets to make it bearable. There's still a lot of stuff down there. It feels cluttered but human. Why is everything gone all long? I don't like it. I mean, all people need is enough to pretend we're home, and we can make it anywhere. Oh, okay. That explains what I just asked. You get kind of philosophical when you're drinking. Did anyone ever tell you that? Yeah, I guess I do. Nah, this is nothing. I used to have this drinking buddy who would get loaded and tell the weirdest damn riddles. Like, which is more musical? A truck passing by a factory or a truck passing by a music school? Ha! Count your blessings. What the fuck is that? Suddenly I'm interested again. What's going on? Why are the trees all zebra-y? It's weird. The spooky skeleton's following me. Oh, thank God we're out. I didn't enjoy that. I did not find the talk about bats interesting. Just long. So, what now? I don't like all these boats. I want to be on foot again, because when I'm on foot it doesn't get stuck. It doesn't just stop for the sake of stopping. Hurrah! Careful up there. Can't drive your new truck if you slip and break your legs. Just don't fall asleep. Oh, a little risk of that. I've got a lot on my mind. I just mean keep your eyes open and don't look back. Okay, dash you out. No, didn't fucking want to talk to Flora. Do you know where the telephone exchange operator is? I don't know what that means. I'm just exploring. I like dark underground places. I'm a romantic. Really? What does that mean to you? Means I like poems and rivers and mysteries. Okay, bye. I don't like you, Flora. You seem dumb. Let's try again, shall we? Could be bypassed with another capacitor at 100 nanofarads to reduce noise. The circuit's too noisy, you could tie those floating pins to the ground. Huh. That's a pretty good idea. They're probably picking up all kinds of radio interference. Dashiell Morse, pleased to meet you. We don't install this type of phone for customers anymore. But there are quite a few of them still in circulation. Anyway, the new system doesn't source enough current to ring these old bells, so I'm trying to come up with a workaround. Maybe a little box the customer could attach right before the wall jack. So you do still work here? On the tugboat they weren't totally sure. Oh, well, yeah, I'm here just about every night. Is this your first time down here? I can tell. Your eyes can't quite adjust to the light. It takes some practice. Believe it or not, I've been coming here since I was a kid. For one reason or the next. Back then, this place was the train station. It's true. They had bats then too, but they were considered a nuisance. What did you come here for as a kid? I usually came here with my grandmother. We took the train out to the town she lived in, or the other direction back to my parents' home. In my memories it was always cold. Winter, I guess. Sometimes now I walk along the tunnel, run my hand along these wet stone walls, and close my eyes. Ringing footsteps and the drip 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 of grimy stalactites. Well, the river shifted and the place slowly filled with water, carrying the trains away with the current. It does that, the river. And I don't begrudge it. It's a good reminder that everything we have is borrowed, even trains. Eventually, someone at the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces heard this place was still empty, so they moved the phone company in here. I returned here as a young lineman, a skill I picked up in wartime. Running telephone wires behind enemy lines. We used trees instead of poles. I miss that actually. They were easier to climb. It's just as well. I'm in no shape to be climbing anything these days. The closest I get is patching up the wiring in the crystal room for the WEVP folks. Did you ever know a girl named Weaver? Sure, Weaver Marquez. That's funny. I was just thinking about her. Yeah, I met her a couple of times at the TV station. I suppose I didn't know her too well. She handled the archives, and I was helping with wiring and stuff. She really seemed to know her way around all that gear though. She had a head for signals, I think. No idea where she ended up. I would guess she's probably not too popular around the station anymore, but I always liked her. Listen, miss, if you're interested in WEVP, you should go talk to them directly. They're always looking for volunteers. Take the ferry over to the silo. There's a mail stop there. They don't have a sign or anything, just ask around. I guess I'll get back to this damn old ringer. Poppy's just a little further down if you're dropping off that package. Nice chatting with you. Did I get told to read this? Abel and Eloise, the lovers' courtiers. Bred for racing, Abel and Eloise spent most of their times as carrier pigeons in the employ of the Echo River Avian Post. They retired here after Abel was disfigured in an accident with a light aircraft, but old habits were hard to die. Abel and Eloise would pick up scraps of paper from the ground, the trash, even pull them out of pockets, and deliver them to other people nearby, to delight or embarrassment. Ah. Word spread, and travellers passing through this tunnel began to come prepared with love letters, poems, or other written desires to pass along indirectly through these pigeons. After a hard day's work, Abel and Eloise would always be found nestled closely together in a disused newspaper stand set aside for their habitation, and that's where we left them. That's a nice one. I liked that one. I certainly liked it more than the bats. The bats was dry and boring. That was a tale. Do I talk to Poppy? I suppose I will. Just set it right over there by the lamp, sweetie. Thanks. Actually, just a minute. Who does this parcel claim to be from? That's weird. There's no label on it. Well, if we're lucky, it's chocolates from a secret admirer, and not a snake from an assassin. I don't know, that's quite interesting in Kill Bill. At least you get a load of money. So, who are you? Do you work for the post office, or the tugboat? I only ask because I haven't seen you before. Was that you I heard chatting down the hall? Yeah, I just met Dashiell. He's been working on that obsolete ringer, hasn't he? Poor Dashiell. You know, he's not really... He was let go a while back. A long while, actually. When they started restructuring, he was one of the first to go. But he talked them into letting him come every day and fiddle with some interminable project. He says it's to keep a long gap from growing in his resume, but I think he just has nothing better to do. One of those old men who needs to work. I don't think I'll ever be one of them. You know? Doesn't know how to be any other way. Well, there are no real jobs here, but there are fake jobs, I guess. It wasn't always like this. When I came to work at the Echo River Central Exchange, there were 12 of us. Loretta, Edna, Meg, Cara, Marie, Lois, Liz, Hester, Angie, Wilma, and Connie. I was number 12. Connie and I were hired on the same day, but she showed up early. Marie finished college, and Hester was fired for snapping at Rue Caller, but he had it coming. And I hear she did just fine on her own. So they hired Beryl, Jana, and Sachiko. Why do I need to know this? Which brought us up to 13, and that was as many operators as we'd ever had here at one time. The power company came along, buying up all the lines, and one day they took the exchange as a throw-in, like it was nothing. Nothing! And they started phasing us out. Edna, Meg, Cara and Lois left one Friday evening, and were asked not to come back on Monday morning. Beryl saw the writing on the wall and quickly found employment on a private PBX. They had Jana and Liz stop routing calls and write up some kind of best practices document instead. It was their final task as exchange employees. Some of the girls were reassigned to other divisions. Connie, I think, was checking residential meters. Sachiko and Wilma moved into energy sales, cold calling businesses to see if they needed to upgrade their electricity plan. At least they were still on the phone. Then it was just Loretta, Angie and me. We were swamped. The hours were hell and hard on the throat. The voice with a smile became a croak. Yeah, relatable. This act's dragged on far too long and my throat's killing me. I was gargling warm salt water in the break room, sipping from a thermos full of hot honey broths stashed under my chair. Oh, I brought a lot of extended technique to the switchboard in those days. Sounded pretty good to me. No, he's got the voltage too high, he'll burn out the relay. So, where was I? Hot honey broth and warm salt water. Right, and a healthy dose of slippery elm. I got that one from Kate. So after a few months, it was just me. A new automation strategy was announced. This place was rechristened Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. If it's automated, what do you do here? It's not fully automated. There are still gaps in functionality that need a human touch. And you know, it really is all about touch here. Sound is vibration, the touch you feel in the air. So my voice is my touch. When we're talking, we're touching, even on the phone. That's an electric touch. An intimate little shock that makes your tiny hairs tremble. But that's not even what I mean when I say it's all about touch here. When the power company first tried automating their solid exchange with fancy new transistor arrays, the switchboard caught fire. It was just too much, too fast. So they tried using some clunky old mechanical relays. But then the calls were getting mismatched and out of sync. It was a nightmare. The technicians determined that the phone system down here had been designed ad hoc over decades around the specific tempo of its human operators. So short of replicating the whole thing, not to mention all the wiring, they'd have to work out the exact timing of every little human gesture that goes into routing a phone call. And that, officially, is my role here. I run the switchboard for the whole exchange. Once a work of 12, I'd like to remind you. They have some kind of machine somewhere that tracks how long it takes me to do each little thing. The caller never hears my voice now. They dial, my little indicator light switch on, and I make the connection. Interesting. What's the machine like? Oh, it's funny. Never actually seen it. They just told me to carry on patching while it collects and collates in the background until it's ready to take over. There's a dark thought. What if there is no cheap machine that's going to replace it all? What if it's cheaper to just keep me here, filling in for the rhythm of the operators? What if I'm the cheap machine? Why don't you just quit? In this economy? No, you're probably right. Working in silence for peanut shells, waiting to be replaced by a robot, it doesn't sound very dignified, does it? The reality is that I've been working here for my whole adult life. I came here as a girl, and I'll leave as a middle-aged woman. I don't know if I'm ready to be her yet. I sound like Dashiell. Oh, the parcel, right. Right over there by the lamp is fine. Thanks for dropping that off. Take care. Think of me when you dial 0. Oh good. 0's still creepy. Spooky skeletons? What does this mean? I don't want Homer going near spooky skeletons, no. She returned on the dinghy alone. She had a strong and sudden urge to shut the motor off and let the current take her, but she couldn't work out where that impulse came from, so she did her best to resist it. She met a family of 5 on a flat-bottom skiff. No, guitar player. She met a guitar player pedaling a floating bicycle with his dog in tow. He said they took turns. The water was cold and the floating bicycle, while technically marvellous, wasn't quite buoyant enough for the both of them. Swimming is hard work. The hardest work the dog had ever done, he expected. They'd been travelling this way for most of the night. struggling through the icy water, stopping to recover when they could find a rock large enough to start a small campfire. He had his belongings stuffed into a weathered guitar case at the end of a thin rope. It floated pretty well, so he only had to keep an eye on it and occasionally free it from a rock or some driftwood it was caught on. She invited him to ride a ways on the dinghy. He appreciated the offer, but they weren't in a hurry. She met a flower salesman on a raft. They floated alongside in buoyant pots, bobbing untethered. He corralled them with a long pole in a stream of small adjustments. She leaned out over the water to get a closer look. He'd just started work for the day, so his stock was full. He pushed a few bouquets her way. First was a rustic bundle of mums. He suggested it would make an appropriate apology bouquet. Next, a simple mixture of snapdragons made to look wild. She thought it looked eager and he agreed. Finally, a rustic mess of blue-petalled flowers of many different types. He said it was for a particular kind of person. If it didn't remind her of anyone in specific. In specific? That sounds odd. If it didn't remind her of anyone in specific, she'd better move on. He drifted away with the current, pushing his flowers along with the raft. She met a painter of shipwrecks. He never worked from photographs, so his paintings could be divided into two categories. There were ones he painted from life. The Echo River was a very good source for these because its currents were so unpredictable and the tunnels so dark. He rendered these in oil paint by lamplight, working for hours, cross-legged on the porch of his homemade houseboat/studio. Then there were the ones he painted from memory, mostly the memory of a single wreck he encountered as a much younger man. Picking up litter where the coastal highway cleaves to the rocky beaches of Northern California. These were done in watercolour. He preferred to work on them in the morning, in a room he rented near the airport in Louisville. He had some postcard-sized sketches in charcoal too, of the Iron Pariah. It wasn't a wreck exactly, but it felt right. He tried to scribble one down every time he encountered it, but it was just so unpredictable, and he was so focused on details he usually just ended up with a handful of inscrutable marks. She gave in, shut off the motor and floated for a while. Then she knew what she'd been craving, a moment of silence. No, I don't like the boat journey. It takes too long. These periods where everything just stops. Don't like it. Has it glitched again? No, something's happening. Or is it? I don't know if anything is happening. Was this intentional? Oh, more stuff's happening. It doesn't look right. Is this meant to be like this? I don't feel like this is meant to be like this. Okay, I strongly suspect this is fucked again, so I'm gonna quit for now.